Original post, October 13, 2023. For some background info, I, 43 mil, have 2 children with my late wife Kayla. Sam, 21 mil, and Liz 16 female. All fake names. Kayla passed away when our kids were 15 and 10. I won't give specifics about how she passed, but she was struck by a drunk driver when she was on her way home from work. She really was the love of my life, and to say that her passing hit our family hard would be an understatement. I promised myself that if I got back into the dating game, I wouldn't date anyone for at least a couple years for the sake of my kids. 3 years after my wife's passing, I met my now fiancée. We'll call her Amanda. Things went slow and I didn't introduce her to my kids until we had been dating for about a year at that point. Now we've been together for 3 years and are engaged. Amanda and my kids have always had a good relationship. Neither of my kids are super close to her, but they have always been friendly and welcoming to her, and Amanda has never overstepped any boundaries my kids have, like trying to replace their mother. At the beginning of Amanda and I's relationship, she was a bit insecure of the fact that I was a widower. During the first few months of us dating, she would constantly ask things like, if Kayla had never passed, would I still be with her right now? I always kept my answers brief, and told her that I didn't like thinking about the what-ifs, and that she was the one I was dating now and that was what mattered. Eventually, she stopped making these comments and I stopped worrying about it. Now to the issue. My parents were hosting a family dinner to celebrate my fiancé and I's engagement. It was my mom and dad, my late wife's sister and her husband, Sam and Liz, and me and Amanda. Dinner was going well, we were all making small talk with each other and talking about wedding plans. About halfway into dinner, my mom made a comment about how she was so happy I was able to find the spark I had with Kayla and someone else. I don't think anybody really paid much attention to the comment, but then Amanda laughed and said, "I'm happy she died, otherwise I would have never gotten him to myself." The tone of the dinner immediately shifted, and everyone got extremely tense, especially my kids. Amanda noticed the shift and started awkwardly laughing like she was trying to play her comment off as a joke. I was honestly just frozen, as that was the first time she had made a comment like that. My kids looked disgusted, and Liz got up and walked out to the car. Sam waited a bit longer like he wanted me to say something, but I was still in shock about what Amanda had said. To make a long story about the dinner short, the dinner was kind of ruined, so I said my goodbyes to everyone, grabbed my fiancé and we all drove home. My daughter hasn't spoken to me or Amanda since, and it's been 3 days. I got tired of it and pulled my son aside to ask him what I should do. He said something along the lines of, "I'm a grown man and don't care who another grown man marries, but I don't want a woman who speaks like that about our mother around my sister." Sam's comment stuck with me and now I'm considering calling off the engagement entirely. She's never made comments like this before, but I'm worried if I let it slide this one time, it will become more frequent, and it will affect my daughter. I need some advice from outside perspectives, and just want to do right by my kids. Would I be the asshole if I called off the engagement because of the comment she made? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect to get this much advice so shortly after posting this. Nonetheless, thank all of you for the advice and even the people calling me a bad father. I think your guys' words are what I needed to pull my head out of my ass. I will try to talk to my kids alone tonight before speaking with my fiancé and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure my fiancé and I are over though. I'll update late tonight or tomorrow on how the talks with everyone goes. Thank all of you again for setting my head straight. Update 1, October 14, 2023, next day. I promised I would update everyone after I had talked to my kids, so here is the update. It's kind of long, so I hope that doesn't go against the rules of this community. I'm also going to use this update as a way to clarify some of the questions people were asking in the comments. 1. Did my fiancée apologize to anyone at the dinner party? No, she didn't. I honestly don't think it even registered or has registered to her that what she said was wrong. 2. Does my fiancée have social anxiety? Not to my knowledge, no. In all the time I've known her, she's never shown any signs of social anxiety and doesn't have a history of it. 3. How old was my late wife? She was 37 when she passed, and we were the same age. Amanda is 41. A lot of people were asking for clarification on the time frame of her passing and when my fiancé and I met. At this point in time, Kayla has been gone for about 6 years and I met Amanda roughly 3 years after Kayla's passing. I didn't mention either of their ages as I didn't believe it was important because we're so close in age, but I understand why a lot of you guys would want to know. Now that I've clarified the things I was most asked about in the comments, we can get into the update. While I'm writing this update, it's the day after I talked to my kids. So last night at around 5:30 my fiancé left for work. She works nights most days of the week, so I was able to call my son and ask if he could come over so I could talk to him and his sister. He goes to our local college and lives in an apartment near his school. When he started college, he wanted to move out but also wanted to stay close to us, so he settled on an apartment a few blocks away from the college. He came over and I called him and his sister into the living room to talk with the both of them. When they were both seated, I told them point blank that I didn't think the wedding was happening anymore, and that the comment she made was unacceptable. I then, by the advice of the comments, apologized to them. I told them I was sorry for not saying anything for so long and letting the tension thicken in our home. I told my daughter that I understood why she hasn't spoken to me and that I was sorry for allowing her to think that I was even remotely okay with what she said. I felt pretty spineless after we had gotten back from dinner that night, so I wanted to do everything in my power to make it right with my kids during the conversation. My daughter told me that she felt disgusted at the comment Amanda made, and even more so when I didn't defend her mother. She then told me that for the past 2 years that she's known Amanda, she felt like she's been gradually trying to push her and Sam away from me. One of the examples Liz gave was when my son moved out. He moved out when he was about to start his sophomore year of college, and when he mentioned the idea of moving out, Amanda was the one who took that and ran with it. According to Liz, Amanda was the one encouraging Sam the most to move out. To be clear, I was never against Sam moving out, but I was clear to him that he was welcome to live at home for his college years and even after until he found where he wanted to be. I asked Sam if he felt pushed out by Amanda, and if that's why he moved out. He said he hadn't felt pushed out before he told everyone he wanted to move, but after he put it out there my fiancée kept pushing for him to move out. Liz cut in and said that every time she brings up college, Amanda keeps encouraging her to go out of state. Liz doesn't plan on going out of state, and she's been open about wanting to go to the college Sam is attending right now. Liz said she feels like Amanda is waiting till she graduates high school and goes to college so she can move out. A lot of the comments were right about the subtle comments eventually turning into Amanda wanting my kids pushed away from me. Liz said that she was scared that by the time I eventually noticed the way Amanda was acting, too big of a wedge would have already been driven between me and them. I told my kids that I'm sorry it's taken me this long to notice and that I was also sorry they've been walking on eggshells for so long. I hugged my kids and told them no matter what, they are my top priority, not Amanda or anybody else. A lot of comments pointed out that even though my son is grown, he still needs his father, and I made sure to let my son know that I will always be there for him and his sister even when they are well grown. The entire conversation lasted about 2 hours, we covered a lot of the bases we wanted to, and it got emotional on all sides. In short, Amanda and I are done. I've made it a point to tell my kids that none of this situation is their fault, and that Amanda is the grown woman who said what she said. My kids and I are okay right now, but they aren't 100% with me and probably won't be for a while. I'm completely fine with that and just want my kids to be comfortable in their own home. Amanda has tomorrow off from work, so I plan on talking to her tomorrow. I also plan on calling my mother to ask her why she thought it was okay to even bring up Kayla at the dinner. I don't want my daughter here when it all goes down, so she's staying tonight and tomorrow night with Sam. So that's where I'm at right now. Not super happy about the outcome of me and Amanda, but would rather have my kids happy and healthy than have a wife. Again, thank you everyone for the advice and the harsh words. I'll update after I call it off with Amanda. Thank you everyone. Update 2, October 15, 2023. Next day. Okay everyone, here's the update you guys were waiting for. Again, this is a long post, even longer than the last update, and I suggest reading my previous posts if you haven't for the context of this situation. So where we last left off is my kids and I talked, made up, and my daughter is staying with her brother so she doesn't get caught up in what was about to happen with my now ex-fiancé. Before the hard part of the day, breaking it off with Amanda, I made a call to my mom to let her know of the situation. A lot of the comments told me to not bash my mom for the comment she made. Now thinking back on the situation with a clear mind, the comment my mother made towards Amanda was most definitely a compliment towards her. And that was confirmed in the call I had with her. My mother, bless her heart, felt extremely guilty for the entire situation. She fully believed the situation all stemmed from her one comment. I assured her that none of the situation was her fault and that I've never blamed her one bit for any of this. We talked a bit more before I let her go. The call ended at about 9:15 a.m. and I was left waiting for Amanda to wake up. She woke up at around 10:30 a.m., and I didn't want to ambush her straight after she woke up, so I waited until about 11:10 a.m. to sit her down and talk. A lot of people in the comments suggested to secretly video the whole thing. I thought that was extremely smart, so I had my phone set to record in my back pocket the entire time. I didn't think she'd try to do anything drastic, but I would rather be safe than sorry. The talk with her went about as well as anyone could imagine, so not at all. I told her I needed to talk with her, that it was serious, and we sat in the living room. When we were seated, I began unloading at her about the comment she made about Kayla at my parents' house, how it made my kids feel, how it made me feel, her lack of an apology or any sort of acknowledgement of what she said, and so on. I told her I expect her to give an apology to my parents, my in-laws, and most importantly, my kids. During the entire time of me unloading on her, she didn't seem to show any bit of emotion other than her eyes, which were slightly wider than normal. After I spoke my truth, she straight up asked, "So if I apologize to everyone, we'll go back to normal?" I told her point blank, no. I told her that the comment she made at dinner was not the extent of my problems with her. I then told her that I knew she heavily pressured Sam to move out when he wasn't even sure if he wanted to at that point in time, and that I also know she is now trying to do the same with Liz. I did my absolute best to leave my kids out of the situation but told Amanda that the way my kids described her treatment towards them was the main reason I don't see a future with her anymore. Amanda was stone-faced up until I told her we were done. I think that's when the panic set in for her. She kept saying that she'll apologize to everyone, that she'll make it right with my kids, etc. I told her that if she apologizes, I would certainly appreciate it, but we were still done either way. She was full-on crying at this point and asked me, why wasn't I willing to try and fix our relationship? And I told her that even though I loved her, and I will be honest I still love her very much, I was not willing to take another chance of my kids being hurt against the way they were. I was frustrated and shot back at her asking her why she was trying to push my kids out of their own home? And I got back an answer I was not at all expecting. I was completely shocked at her response, but a lot of you guys won't be. A lot of commenters actually hit the nail right on the head with what Amanda was truly like. Amanda responded with, "Well, I didn't know you expected me to house somebody else's kids for the rest of my life." I immediately saw red and after about a minute I told her get out. I told her that my kids can go wherever they please, especially in the house that I own and pay for. She tried to retaliate, but in the end, ended up packing a few bags and going to stay with one of her friends. I emailed a copy of the phone recording to myself. The talk only lasted about 25 minutes, not nearly as long as the talk I had with my kids, so if anything ends up coming because of the conversation, I have all I'd need to keep my name clear. I've texted my kids that Amanda is out of the house for good, that they are welcome to come home anytime, and let my son know that if he wants to, he is more than welcome to move back in completely. My daughter is coming back from her brother's place in the afternoon, and I still have phone calls to make to my parents and in-laws to apologize for this mess of a situation. Amanda is out of my house, but keeps blowing up my phone for us to try to work things out. I'll let her come by in the next few days so she can collect the rest of her stuff out of my house, but she is not welcome to live here again. I'll be honest and say that I am a bit devastated. Despite everything Amanda did, I still love her, and I probably won't stop loving her for a minute. But I'll be okay. Right now I just want to focus on the family that needs me, and will use this situation as an excuse to bond more with my kids. Another big thank you to everyone who helped me in the comments. A lot of the advice you guys gave played a part in making things right with my family. I will update if anything else big or important happens, but as of now I'm taking it one step at a time and making it right with my family. Update 3, June 26, 2024, 8 months later. Wow, I can't believe it's been almost a year since everything went down and my posts still have so much traction. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who's been engaged in my story and an even bigger thank you to those who shared their own stories and advice when I was between a rock and a hard place. Everything that happened honestly feels like a lifetime ago, which has reminded me that I'm getting older as I'm now 44. Liz turned 17 a few months ago and Sam is about to be 22. Life has honestly been pretty peaceful since I broke things off with Amanda. I will give a quick recap of my last update from almost a year ago, when I had the conversation with Amanda. She had stayed at her friend's place for about a week and I took that time to take the advice of many comments and I packed up her stuff like clothes and other small items for her. She had a couple of bigger things like chairs and other decor, so I made sure those were the only things she was allowed to come in the house for. I got the locks changed per advice as well. I will say that a lot of you commenters thought of things that didn't even cross my mind, like the locks, and I'm thankful you guys are a bit more cognitive than me. Everything after that was pretty smooth and amicable, which did surprise me. She came by and picked up her things and gave me back the ring, which I didn't want back, but she gave it to me anyways, and we didn't talk much. It was calm, but that didn't last because a few weeks later, she was harassing my socials for another chance. I was pretty exhausted by her at that point, so I just blocked her and had my kids block her as well. A lot of commenters pointed out in my second update that I didn't love her, I loved who I thought she was, and that was spot on, and it had helped the process of me moving on go much more quickly. It's been radio silence from her end since me and my kids blocked her, and since it's been almost a year, I'm pretty confident it will stay that way. This whole situation has made me realize that I'm perfectly fine and okay with being single for the rest of my life. Maybe people will see that as sad, but I find it more as an acceptance thing. Ending things with Amanda made me realize that I didn't feel that same love with her I felt with Kayla, and probably never will with anyone else. That's not fair to me or the person I could potentially date, and I'm content with the family I have around me. This situation has almost given me a whole new appreciation for my kids. They showed more maturity and understanding than I ever did at their age, and it's made me love them even more, which I didn't think was possible. Sam still has his apartment. I offered for him to move back in, but he declined, as he really enjoys having his own bachelor pad, which I understand, as I was his age once too. He has a part-time job he really enjoys that he's been working since his second semester this year, and I think he met a girl. Not sure, but I know my kid and I'm catching a vibe from him. Liz is amazing as always, and she's enjoying summer before her senior year. She's made honor roll every year of high school including this year, and I'm so damn proud. Both of my kids are such hard-working and genuinely good people that it's hard not to toot my own horn when I think about it. Sorry for rambling in this post about them. I love them more than anything and find myself word vomiting about them when I speak about them. I'm sure other dads can relate. Another huge thank you to everyone who's been following my story and gifting me all your amazing, and some not so amazing, advice. And also know that I've read your own stories in the comments about your similar experiences. I'm sorry a lot of you guys didn't have the support system I've shown my kids, and I really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to share your own personal stories. I wish I could give all of you giant dad hugs. That's about it for now. Of course, I'll update if anything big happens. I don't think it will, as I think the dust is pretty much settled. Hopefully, I don't jinx myself by saying that. Again, I appreciate all of you fine Redditors for following how my kids and I are doing, and I hope this is a satisfying update for you guys. I wish you guys all the best. Story 2, Am I the asshole for not leaving a chair free in honor of my late wife at my wedding? Original post, June 26, 2024. My first wife passed away 12 years ago and I was really young at that time. I did my best to get over the loss and move on. I loved her in the past, but it's my past now and I need to live in the present for myself. I found another love. I met my girlfriend 7 years ago. I love her and she has always respected that I am a widower. I don't really name my first wife except on occasions when I tell an anecdote where she is there, and I don't have pictures or anything of her in my home. I want to give my girlfriend the place she deserves. I've had many bad experiences in a grief help group and learned what not to do in a new relationship. I'm going to get married in November. At first I didn't know whether to invite my first wife's family because I didn't know if they would want to attend, so I never said anything to them or invited them to the wedding. I don't talk with them except for a text every few months, but her mother was the one who texted me to tell me that she would be very happy to go, so I ended up inviting her and her husband. They kind of invited themselves and I have problems with saying no, much more in that kind of situation. On the weekend we were putting some things together and my mother told me that it would be good to put an extra chair in honor of my first wife. That was an idea of my late wife's mother, but she didn't talk about that with me first but with my mother. We paper seat, each chair we put up is charged as if it were a person. They would even charge me for drink and food, as if someone was really present, and honestly, I am quite tight financially on the wedding. So I think it would be a waste of money and something symbolic, because if I do that for her I also have to do that for all the members of my family who died because they would complain about it. My father and brother also died, so that would be even more money. I'm not a spiritual person either, so I don't believe in those things, and I don't like any kind of ritual or symbolic thing. I also don't want to have a moment to talk about deceased people and kill the atmosphere. I just want a nice and joyful wedding for my girlfriend. Just to make my mother shut up, I said that if someone offers to pay the money I would ask for more chairs. There would be 7 relatives, too many. I knew that nobody was going to pay for that, because I can't spend money on more things, but no one talked and I thought that she would forget that, but my mother said that then I should include photos of me with my first wife when they show the typical video of the bride and groom as they grow up. I just don't want to do that. I even find it disrespectful for my girlfriend to put pictures of my first wife when I'm getting married again, let alone make a whole video about those times. It's just weird to me, but I know that there are widowers who have done so. It leaves me confused. My first wife appears in some of the photos I chose to go through in the video, not the one my mother wants me to do. In photos where I'm traveling with friends or family, it's not that I'm hiding her identity or anything like that, but I just want that moment to be my wife and mine. I already healed. My mother has been doing everything to make me feel guilty, and honestly, it's hard not to feel guilty when the words come from a person who went through the same thing as me. I know my girlfriend would agree because she's really kind, and she has already said that she is not really interested in what others think because she is the one who will be my wife. I'm the one who feels uncomfortable. Am I the asshole? I want that moment to be my girlfriend and mine. I already had that moment with my first wife years ago, now I want to have this moment with her. Is it a bad thing? Relevant comments. Comment 1. Does your fiancé know about your mother's idea of the tributes for the wedding? OP, she doesn't know my mother said that. When my mother told me to do that tribute, I instantly told her no, but she has been filling my head with the fact that I am being a bad person, and that I'm dirtying the memory of a dead person. I'm not a religious person, but it's hard not to feel guilty when the words come from someone who also lost a loved one. My girlfriend knows that I'm really over the whole past and she really wouldn't care what they do, but I'm the one who doesn't want to do that. Comment 2. What venue charges by chair? OP, I'm not from the US, at least in the place where I will have the wedding they charge me for a table and chair, so if some of the guests miss the wedding, I will have to pay that money anyway. The managers calculate the chair's proportion of food, that's how it is here, that way they handle what they are in charge of since their logic is one chair per head. Many people charge the guests for the seat and food, but my wife and I did not want to do that. I thought that everywhere the drinks were charged since it is a separate service. Comment 3, no way on the chair. I'll go a step further and say your first wife should not be in the slightest bit included in the video you plan to show, even if she is just with family. This wedding is all about your new bride, and you two are the stars of the show. OP, we both put pictures of us with our families and it is inevitable that my late wife appears in some of them, and I think it would be strange to edit her out of them. My girlfriend put a photo of her graduation with friends where her ex-boyfriend appears on one side, and I don't see any problem with it. The main focus of all the photos is still justice. Update 1, June 30, 2024. I talked to my girlfriend about the exact situation. Until now she had always said that she doesn't care and supports me in whatever I decide, but when I told her that it makes me uncomfortable and what my mother said, she just got angry and told me, "Let's talk to your mother." She has the balls, I don't have to be honest. When my ex-mother-in-law found out about my engagement, she sent me a message saying, "I'm really happy for you, me and my husband would love to attend." I really didn't know how to reject such a direct self-invitation, and my wife told me to invite them if I felt comfortable with that. At that moment I had no problem since they had always been respectful people. That was a big mistake. I talked to my mother and she showed me that my ex-mother-in-law started to send her random messages after I posted about getting married with my girl. My ex-mother-in-law sent her messages like, "Today I really miss my daughter, it's a shame that your son is forgetting her since it would be a good idea to visit her grave but he doesn't want to," or, "My daughter really would have loved to attend the wedding." They had contact from time to time, so my mother didn't find that too weird. My mother felt pressured, and under her own beliefs she also pressured me. She apologized to me and my wife and said she was out of line. Honestly, that triggered me. My mother lost a son and a husband. I grew up seeing how people expected the same thing they expected of me from her. I got angry and talked to my ex-mother-in-law. It really bothered me that they tried to manipulate my mother knowing what she suffered, and how sensitive she is about that topic. Ex-father-in-law apologized and his wife did not. She said she finds it disrespectful that I don't do anything in honor of her daughter, and that I even stopped wearing my wedding ring when she died. I'm not going to take that personally. I know that the death of a child is really hard, but I'm not an extension of her daughter. I am my own person. I just told them that they're no longer invited to the wedding because I was very kind, but they didn't respect me, my mother, and my girlfriend. I told ex-mother-in-law that I will make my whole family block them from everything if she keeps trying to make my mother feel bad. Until the end she stood her ground and never said sorry. Was I cruel? I don't care, I don't owe them anything. My mother lost her husband and they used that to manipulate her mind. They stopped being my family when their daughter died. I always just had a respectful treat with them, nothing more. I won't make a table in honor of anyone. I won't make a video in honor of anyone or anything like that. I'll only have my brother's favorite beer and wine because it's something that the cute drunk told me in life that he wanted. My wife said she never lost anyone close to her, so she really doesn't need to pay tribute to anyone. The only thing that will be honored will be the union of me and my wife, because that's the thing that makes my days perfect and filled with happiness. I don't like symbolic things because I believe that the dead are dead and that's it. They are not still by my side or anything like that, but that's my belief and point of view. Everyone can have a different point of view. To be honest, I thought I would get a lot of "you're the assholes," Since my father passed away, it has seemed strange to me how people see widows and widowers. Everyone wanted my mother to continue loving my father even after he passed away, and when it happened to me I felt the same pressure. I'm a bad person for loving my girlfriend so much more than I loved her? Am I wrong for feeling that the worst loss in my life was my brother's and not my wife's or father? All the widows have pictures of their deceased partners. I'm a bad person for not wanting to do that? Should I still wear my wedding ring like the widows from the grief counseling do? But I don't want to, or am I a bad person for not feeling anything for her anymore? I felt guilt many times long ago. They were questions that I asked myself daily as soon as I began my relationship with my wife, questions that I don't ask at all anymore, but they really tortured me because what is usually expected of a widower is that we are that forever, never the husband, eternally the melancholic character even if we have found someone new. We are always expected to love our deceased partner even if we have a new person, because you can romantically love two people at the same time, but what if I don't want to? What if that's not for me and I want to give all my love to just one person? What if I want to move on with my life? I think at this point I'm just venting, so I'm sorry if you made it this far. Be kinder to new wives and husbands. I felt ready to start dating 2 years later and I met the love of my life, but I know a lot of married people who shouldn't be because they're still grieving and sending all that mental load to their partners. Please learn that it is good to be alone when you do not feel ready. There's nothing wrong with being single. Thanks to the people who gave me good advice even if some of them were pretty weird. I had an agitating weekend, so now I just want to watch TV with my girlfriend. Relevant comments. Comment 1. You didn't have kids together, right? If not, move on from your ex-in-laws. They are never going to treat your new wife without thinking of their daughter. Which means there's always going to be a problem. When you have a kid, you didn't name it after her. When you buy a house, you can't bring her to the house you live with your wife. When you go on a vacation, you went there with your wife and you're sullying it by bringing your new wife. It's never going to stop. Comment 2. Isn't it great how love can give us courage to stand up for others when we wouldn't do it for ourselves? Great job, all of you. I can't imagine what losing a child would be like, but I would never want their partner to never marry, or make their wedding about their previous marriage. Also, why do you need to go after other people in OP's family to try and get him to honor his dead wife? Like, if you want him to do something, talk to him about it, not his mother. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.